in Italy, felt sense, the magic word that
Yes,
Gendlin,
yes, the magic word.
the magic word, has not been translated in the right way, because all Gendlin's jargon, and I am happy now to be able to say jargon. I'm not been the first one to say it. It has been said by someone else officially, so I feel entitled to be a follower on this.
You're allowed to say it.
Gendlin's jargon by someone who is not a native speaker of English, who is not a psychologist, no, a philosopher, and many trainers of focusing are not psychologists and are not philosophers. It's
Mm.
really intimidating. It's really
Oh,
intimidating. So people just keep the word as a sacred word there. They keep it there, and
oh, really?
they don't want to really mess around too much with it. So they keep it. They put it on a shelf, I would say, and they keep it there, and they really don't. Interact, or they don't go to a dictionary to maybe to see what it could mean. So they leave, don't want to interpret it. They don't want to interpret.
They don't use the term felt sense, or they use it, but they don't um go into it, what it.
No, they use it, but they don't go into it.
I see.
So
They
there is this for me, there is, I started to feel, but not only with felt sense, with carrying forward as well, which at the
Yeah.
beginning I used. I wrote a paper in, I think it was 2015 for the folio, and I used that expression. I said, uh, carrying forward, focusing bottom up. So I went along with the expression for a while, but then something for me was really wanting to experience more what that meant. And so
Mm.
I really felt the need to go also, for example, to look up in a dictionary, because if I had to translate it, and if you have to teach focusing, you want to be able, in a language that is not English, you want to be able to translate these words, right? And so felt sense, for example, has been translated as sensazione sentita, which means that the word sense has not been understood as related to meaning, but as related to sensation.
Oh, I see.
So, and if you take the word sense to be related to sensation and you say felt sensation, it is
Mm.
just a repetition, right?
A
Uh,
physical, a physical.
of a physical or even perception. So meaning does not appear, but if you put together felt sense with felt meaning, and you make that connection, you understand that you cannot translate felt sense as sensazione sentita, but you have to translate it as significato sentito.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you have to put the word meaning
Yes,
into the
yes.
sense.
Oh, that's such an
That's to give
interpretation.
you an example of what it means for someone who is not an English speaker native to mm, to translate this language,
Yes,
and
yes,
which is, I think, in a way, I think it should also happen for English speakers, because if you are a translator and if you are not a native speaker, you have a lot more problems with this jargon, and therefore you are compelled to do something with it, to go deeper into it, and
yes,
not to leave it there without interaction.
yes, yes. I think that that in English, uh, it's an interesting use of the word, because a sense of something is a kind of idiom in English that wouldn't be translated, because it has a double meaning in English of a meaning and a sensation. And so those come together. But in another language, people wouldn't know that idiom.
Exactly.
So you're making a very important contribution there. But it also brings the philosophy into the terms that are used in focusing and in therapy, because felt sense is really a philosophical as well as experiential term of something that you actually feel in your body, that's a meaning of something. And that's so important and unique in Gendlin's philosophy, that we can actually have a feel of something that has meaning for us.
Yeah, we spoken about felt sense. The other one we have been in touch with is this carrying forward. And when one thing you have to know, and that it is also the source of my difficulties, that in Italian there is no way to make a difference between the infinitive, like to carry, and the gerund, carrying.
Oh,
So all the difference that Gendlin makes to really underline the process aspect of words by writing it in the gerund gets completely lost in a language like Italian, because there is no way. I mean, if you start, for example, and that's, I think, English-speaking people are not aware of this. For example, being and to be, which is the central word for philosophers, there is no way in Italian to say, to make a difference between being and to be. So we always say, maybe we can capitalize the E in essere, in to be, to make it sound more like a noun. But there is no way to say essendo, which it exists grammatically, the gerund. We could say, but no one would understand what you mean if you start saying essendo. But essendo malata, the gerund, it's cannot stay alone as a noun. You always have to add another consequential clause to it. And that's why carrying forward, for example, would cannot function in Italian as
Not a good term.
as a noun, as a good term. It cannot stand by itself. You would have to you have to change it. And so when you realize that, you also have my way of looking the phenomenological variables changed, and I really started to want to give my own, to substitute them for something that was mine at the end of this process. So
how do you say it? Carrying
well, carrying forward in Italian, carrying forward in Italian, for me, it really means, I can say, portare in avanti, which is the literal translation. To really think about carrying forward, I went to look in all my dictionaries. I have maybe 7 or 8 different dictionaries of English, from the Oxford language, the British English. And it was only in, I have it here, I can show it to you. It was only in an American college dictionary that I found carrying forward as a phrasal verb in itself. And I show it to you because I was looking. This is it is a 19th.
Oh,
This dictionary,
yes,
has carrying forward as a phrasal verb. I mean, you really, Oxford Dictionary does not have carry forward.
as a phrase. I missed a word. You said it's the only dictionary that has carrying forward
as a phrase, because Oxford English Dictionary has carry and then carry on, but it does not have carry forward. You see what I mean? It doesn't attack. So the idea that Gendlin really made up the expression.
Yes, he made it.
I'm not sure though, because look, this is 1969. And maybe Gendlin was already influenced. And there is someone, a linguist from Chicago there. Maybe he started, it is possible. Then in 1960.
Somebody else made it up.
and they picked it up from him. It is possible. But here we found carrying forward. And one first meaning, I read it to you, to progress with, for example, carry forward the program. Okay, so progress. And this is what people usually understand for carrying forward. Progress with your life. Make some progress with your life. Okay. The second meaning of carry forward here comes from accounting. And you see, to transfer an entry to the next column, page, book, or to another account. And this meaning, it is the accounting meaning that was really very interesting for me. And when I made the link to evolution, because in a process model, when Gendlin speaks about evolution, carrying forward as evolution, he introduces the notion of stoppage. Stoppage. So there is an entry, a column ends, and you have to start a new one in this accounting meaning of carrying forward. There is something that ends, and a new column that starts. and that is your offspring. And that is the generation after generation. So it's not a linear process of progress. It is
Yes.
something that stops and starts on a new level.
Yes, and the pause is often a place where something stops or pauses, and then something new person says, fuller, maybe deeper, comes from there. There's a story that that Gendlin told. I don't know where, but I put it in one of my papers. I think it's in the paper about improvisation, where the person was asking him, the interviewer was asking him, what does carrying forward mean? And, well, it's too hard to explain, but wait a minute and you'll see. And then the person said, oh, and he said, there it is, right there, that we experience it all the time, of the future being in the present in some way, that when it opens up, we have the more of it. And the words carrying forward don't really give you that.
No, especially if you don't if you treat it in the first meaning here, progress, which is really what I want to stay away from. So the idea that we can just simply make progress in society and in our lives so easily and or without generating anything new, is really what gets lost if you don't dwell deeper into
Yeah,
the meaning
absolutely.